Hi everyone, and welcome back to Digital Art Tutorial number 11. In this tutorial we're going to be talking about pulling in an image to Acorn and adjusting that image and skewing it and reshaping it and resizing it. So we're going to go over quite a few things, but we'll make it as brief as we can. First thing you're going to do is go to New Image, and you're going to make this a 8 by 10 and go ahead and make it at 250 pixels per inch. Click OK. And before we do anything, we always save our work. So File, Save As. And we're going to save this as Frank, short for Frankenstein. We'll save it for frank.acorn right into our desktop. Now I have an image that I will be posting for you guys to bring in here. You can do this with any image, but try to use the one that I have given you. So you're going to go to Add Images, and we're going to go to where mine is on my desktop. It's under Student Reference Photos, Frankenstein. And we're going to pull this image in here. Now, the first step is going to be to remove, let me make this a black color so you guys can read it. And make this, I'm going to go ahead and write the steps up here so you can read them. We are going to remove the background. And we're going to call this step number 1. And so what we're going to do to remove the background is I'm just going to literally use the selection tools that we've gone over before. And let's use the polygon selection tool. Make sure that I am on my Frankenstein layer. And I'm just going to click around this image. I'm not looking for it to be perfect. I just want the head only and nothing else. So I'm going to click. Every time I'm changing directions, I'm clicking with my mouse pad, and I'm putting down what's called an anchor point. Go all the way back to the beginning, you get a little dot like that, and hit delete. Command D to deselect, and start on the other side. Now, if I was really concerned with being super sharp with my selection, I would probably want to zoom in and use one of my other selection tools. But I just want, for this case, to get rid of the background kind of roughly. Back to your original till you get the dot. Click delete. Command D to deselect. And now we have our first image. Now we want to remove the background, which we did. We want to make 4 copies. So I'm going to click the image, Command C, and then hit V as in Victor 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I said 4 copies, so let's delete one of those because I made 5. So I'm going to drag that down. There we go. I got 4 Frankensteins, and I'm going to just kind of pull those in all different directions. All right, so step number 2 is going to be resizing. Now I want each one of these to be it's a different size. So I'm going to put step 2, resize each Frank to a different size. There we go. And I'm going to make sure that that font layer's up there. And I'm going to go to my Frankenstein 1. Now I'm going to name this Frank or F1. I'm going to rename this one F2, F3. It's always good to name your layers. F4. And we'll call this background. Now, Command S to save. Save your work, or File, Save. And we're going to take the first image, and I'm going to go up to resize. You're going to find that under your image. Under your layers palette. Rotate and transform. Scale and rotate. And you're just going to get these bounding boxes. You'll go up to the edge till you get that little L shape, and you're going to click and resize your image. Just click and drag this around. You can also rotate your image like this as well. So if you bring an image into your canvas here and you want to resize it, that's how you're going to do it. Now, shortcut is Command-Shift-T, and that's the shortcut. Command-Shift-T. Now I'm going to make each 4 of these, or all 4 of these, a different size. So there's F4, let's go to F3, and Command-Shift-T to resize it. Let's make this one even smaller. Put it up there. And we'll go to F number 2, and Command-Shift-T make that one maybe a little bit bigger like so. And the last one we'll make even larger. So let's move these guys up here. And we'll make this guy bigger. Command-Shift-T. Now, the whole purpose of this is to, again, work in your layers and also work with transforming the image into different sizes and knowing how to do that. So one last time, you're going to go up to Image, Layer. I always go to Image. Layer, Rotate, Transform, Scale, and Rotate. And what we're going to do for number 3 is we're going to put a perspective, and I'll show you what that means. We're going to put a perspective. Let's go ahead and click that box out like so. You do not have to type this on yours either. Place a perspective, transform on 2 franks. So on 2 of these, you're going to do what's called a perspective transform. Now don't get concerned with all of the large words and weird lingo. It's not a big deal. So I'm just going to choose one, go up to my layers palette, down to my rotate and transform, and go to your perspective transform. What's really cool about this is that you can click, drag, and it will actually make it look like the image is going towards you or away from you. So this is kind of a neat tool if you're trying to put something on a vehicle or on a building or a sign, and you can see that you are skewing that image. So you're just going to put any kind of perspective transform. Let's go ahead and do that right there. There we go. And we're going to do it on one more because you're going to do it on 2 franks. So let's click another one down here. We're going to go up to our layer, rotate, transform, perspective, and let's make this one look a little bit different. Maybe we come way down like so, and maybe this goes way out like this. There we go. We're just going to kind of mess around with the different proportions here. All right, so you know how to now transform an image, add a perspective transform to it. And the last thing we're going to do on this, it's very simple, is we're going to, number 4, add a filter to each frank. And I will move my franks down so you can read that. We're going to add a filter to each frank. All right. Move them down. I'm going to go ahead and save so far. So we've got removing the background, resizing a frank to a different size, placing a perspective transform on 2 of them, and adding a filter to each one. So I know that my text layers are on top, my frank layers are on the bottom, so I've got all those organized. I also have a background layer. I'm going to go to frank number 1, and I'm going to add a filter. The way you add a filter is right up here under your blend options. You can also go up to your filter options and go down all of these different filters. There are many filters you can use. You can use any 4 you'd like. So click on the F1 right here, or it looks like F4, and I'm going to just go down my layers, my filters, until something sticks. Now if you're finding, there we go, there's something under hard light. If something doesn't work on a black and white photo, that's kind of a cool one, then I will show you what we'll go to next if it's not working. Let me get one that, it looks like only there's a couple that are going to work. So let's go to our, which one was it? Like, there we go, exclusion. Here we go. It's kind of giving that more haunted feel. Now I want to rotate this. Command-Shift-T to transform. You can rotate it. There we go. All right, there's one filter. Now let's go to the next one and add a filter on the next one. So I know that I can't really use my blending options too much because there's only a couple things you can do, but let's go up here and check these out. We got filter, and we can go to distortion effect and try one of these. Let's try glass distortion and see what happens. All right, it gives us a texture, and we can lower and raise that texture. It looks pretty cool. Let's go ahead and click flatten. If you're happy with it, click flatten. I'm happy with that right now. There's filter number 2, number 1, number 2. Let's go to the big boy down here, F2. We're going to go up to our filter. Let's try something else. We've got stylize. Let's see what this does. Let's go to crystallize. Ah, look at that. So again, you can see how each one of these is going to do something different. So you just kind of have to play around with these. I always discover new stuff as I mess around with the filters. Your radius, if you continue out with your radius, it will make him more abstract. If you bring your radius back in, he'll look more clear. Let's go for like a, there you go, like a grainy effect. That looks pretty cool. Click flatten. So there's 1, 2, 3 filters, and let's do a color filter on the last one. So we've got Frank down here, F1 right here. Let's go to our filter option, color effect, color monochrome, which we did on the Mr. Burns. And let's add a green color for Frankenstein. There we go, that's pretty cool. And let's bring down the intensity just a little bit. Make him a little darker, let's see. I like this one right here. All right, and flatten. And that's really all there is to it. You did quite a bit. You removed a background, you resized each one, you placed a perspective transform on these two right here, and you added a filter to each one. Now you could literally play around for 1, 2, 3 hours on all the different filters because there's so many different types. So just get familiar with these and kind of check out what they do. And these are going to be helpful when we get to our graveyard project, which is coming up next. Thanks for watching.